Hey, we're on lesson 49 in our algebra books today. This lesson is on the multiplication of polynomials. Last lesson we did addition, which we know in algebra addition can mean addition or subtraction. This one is on multiplication. As it turns out, this is really easy because we've already learned how the distributive property works. And when we multiply polynomials, that's really all we're doing is the distributive property. I've got a simple example to start us off with. We have a monomial, one term, times a binomial, two terms in parentheses. So we're just doing the distributive property. It's very simple. We start off doing 4x times x squared. That gives us 4x cubed because we're doing 4 times 1. Remember, there's a coefficient there even though we don't write 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And x times x squared is x to the third. Then we have our minus sign, and we do 4x times 2. So we're doing 4 times 2x, which is 8x. And that's all we do on that example. We can't combine these. Remember, these are not like terms. They don't have exactly the same variable and exponents. So we write our answer as this, 4x cubed minus 8x. So that's a lot like what we've done before with the distributive property. What we'll do is we'll look at a couple examples that are a little bit harder because we'll take two binomials and multiply those. We'll find out that we're still doing the same thing. We're just doing a little bit more advanced version of the distributive property. So let's go ahead and look at one of those examples right now. All right, here's our second example. Like I said, this one's a little bit more complicated because we have a binomial times another binomial. But remember, we're just doing distributive property. The way we're going to do it is we're going to start off with this first term, 4x, and we are going to do two steps. We're going to multiply it by both terms in that second polynomial, that second binomial there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 4x times 3x, and then separately we're going to do 4x times negative 2. And once we do that, we're going to be done with 4x in this first binomial, and we are going to move to the plus 5. And we're going to multiply that plus 5 by 3x, and then separately we're going to multiply it by negative 2. A lot of times people abbreviate this method as FOIL. FOIL standing for first, outer, inner, last, as the order you multiply them in. You don't have to do it that way, but it is a helpful way to remember it. So we're going to start off with the first term in the first binomial, 4x. We will multiply it by both terms in the second binomial. So we will do 4x times 3x. 4 times 3 is 12. X times x is x squared. So 4x times 3x is 12x squared. Then we will multiply 4x times negative 2. That will give us negative 4 times 2 is 8x. Alright, so now we're done with 4x. We've multiplied it by both terms over here. So now we move over to the plus 5. And we do plus 5 times 3x. 5 times 3 is 15x. It is positive, so it's plus. And then we do plus 5, positive 5, times negative 2. Positive times negative is negative, and 5 times 2 is 10. Now we're done. This answer is correct, but we can clean it up just a little bit because we've got two like terms in the middle, and anytime we have like terms, we want to combine them for our answer. So 12x squared, it's the only term with an x squared in it, so it stays the same. Negative 10 is the only one with just a constant and no variable, so it stays the same. What we do is we combine x and x, negative 8x and positive 15x. We just combine those. Negative 8 plus positive 15 is going to be positive 7x. And so there's our complete answer. 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. We're going to go ahead and look at one more example like this. This one is going to be done the same way, but to start off with, it's going to look a little bit different. But I want to show you one like this just so you'll understand it when you get to it in the lesson. So let's go ahead and look at one more example right now. Here's the other example I was talking about. This one is 3x plus 2 squared. I want to do one like this because I don't want you to think that it's a little bit simpler than it actually is. It's easy to look at this and think you can do 3x squared is 9x squared plus 2 squared is 4 and think that you're done. It's not quite that simple. It's not hard, but it's not quite that simple either. Remember what squaring something means. We are squaring this entire set of parentheses. And to square something means you multiply it by itself. So if we do 3x plus 2 squared, we are really doing 3x plus 2 times itself. 3x plus 2. So it's still an easy problem, but it's not quite as easy as we thought it was to begin with. You need to write it out like this, and you need to multiply all the parts, just like we did in the previous example. We need to start with 3x, and we need to multiply it by both terms over here. So we'll do 3x times 3x, we will get 9x squared. And then we do 3x times 2, and we get positive 6x. All right, we're now done with 3x. We've multiplied it by both terms. So we move over to the positive 2. And we do 2 times 3x, which is also positive 6x. And we do 2 times 2, which is positive 4. And so just like the last problem, we've got two terms in the middle that we can and should combine. Positive 6x plus positive 6x gives us positive 12x, and then we've got plus 4 at the end. And remember, for your answer, you want to have it neat. You want to do it in descending order by the variable, just like we learned in the other lesson. So we've got 9x squared plus 12x plus 4 for our answer. Now, if you run into other polynomials where you're multiplying by more than just a binomial, it's nothing to worry about at all. It is done exactly the same way. If you have 3x plus 2, for example, times, let's say we have 2x squared plus 4x plus 7, you're going to follow the same exact steps. You're just going to have a little bit more to do. You're going to start with 3x. You will multiply by this term, then you will multiply by this term, then you will multiply by this term. And then you'll move over to positive 2, and you'll multiply it by this term, and then by this term, and then by this term. So it'll be done the same way. You'll just get a little bit more of an answer. And once again, you'll be able to combine the like terms there. So don't worry if you run into one like that. Same steps, no different, just a little bit extra step. I lost my cat now, it's so sad. Oh well, I hope this helps. If we need to, just hit me up in the comments there. We can add to it. We can figure out what's going on. Pretty soon we'll be doing some more with polynomials, but we will get to that later on. Hope this helps. If it has, I hope you'll subscribe and let some other folks know as well. And we'll see you on the next lesson.